And basically right now our entire town is on fire. There are two major fires, and collectively at one point it was about 10,000 acres that were burning. There has been over 600 structures that have been lost, and up to this point I haven't heard of any lives being lost, thank God. But I want to back this up a little bit because something about this fire just does not sit right with me. So if you back up about a month, maybe 2 months, and if you live in Spokane, you would have remembered that there was a very large scale data center that was proposed to be brought to Spokane that would have been a great drain on our power grid and the Spokane River. So the city put a 1-year pause on welcoming that data center into the area until they determined what kind of impacts exactly it would have on our local ecosystem, power grid, etc., right? So they were told no, not right now. And I'm gonna put a picture right here. Okay, there's a picture right here. I would just like you to look at the areas of the proposed data centers compared to the evacuation zones and the fire zones of these houses that were lost on where they wanted to put the data centers. So they said no, and all of a sudden thousands of acres burned to the ground. I'll just let you guys do the math, but something ain't right. I'll just let you guys do the math, but something ain't right.
So as you just seen from that clip right there, I mean, that lady right there is pointing out how something ain't right about any of this. And it's quite ironic, as I pointed out earlier in the show about the data center stuff. And, you know, now we are seeing this stuff happen right here because they are going to stop at nothing to do these massive land grabs. I mean, it's just a fact. And I believe all of this is tied together for a reason. They want these data centers put up everywhere at a rapid pace, and they are going to stop at nothing to do this, in my honest opinion, as I've already stated. And it's all tying into the artificial intelligence takeover. And I do believe there's even more nefarious stuff at play here when it comes to these data centers being put up everywhere. I believe they have even more nefarious plans ahead when it comes to these centers being put up everywhere. Something just ain't right about these fires in Spokane. It's just not. When you begin to put the pieces of the puzzle together, something just seems off about all of this.
Top of mind for many in the Spokane area after Vista announced recently they ceased negotiations with a large load data center developer, and the city of Spokane passed a 1-year citywide moratorium on new data centers. You knew that much. Well, tonight, some new developments. The county proposing their own temporary ban. Let's take a look nationwide here for a moment. Gallup poll releasing brand new detailed poll information on your sentiment toward these data centers. 7 in 10 Americans say they are opposed to data centers, and about half say not only are they opposed, they are strongly opposed. We heard from many of you opposed and in favor to the data center ban in Spokane. As we turn now to the discussion, bigger picture, Spokane County specific. Nonstop Local KHQ's Belle Lewis live tonight. Good evening, Belle. Outline some of the concerns you're hearing about ahead of the agenda discussion on Tuesday.
Yes, good evening, Sean. I'm standing here outside the Spokane County Courthouse where that discussion will take place tomorrow as they look towards maybe implementing their own 9-month moratorium or ban on the processing of permits or starting any construction on any data centers in unincorporated Spokane County land. And a lot of the concerns that we heard from the 2 county commissioners today, well, they echo some of the concerns we heard from the city of Spokane when they passed their own moratorium.
So there's a lot of existing regulations and rules that impact how we build things. And I'm not sure why data centers are different in any way to anything else that we build and aren't covered by all of those existing rules and regulations.
Todd Myers from the Washington Policy Center says that concerns over data centers are real, but banning them outright isn't a good idea.
We have rules in place.
Rules about the resource that Gallup says is drawing a lot of the concern about data centers: water.
You can't simply start withdrawing water and using it. You have to get permits. You have to pay for that amount.
But the moratorium proposed in Spokane County says more clarity is needed on regulations and permits for data centers. In a statement, Spokane County Commissioners Chris Jordan and Amber Waldrop now calling for Spokane County to have a coordinated planning effort with Avista and others to find a path forward. The proposal, if accepted, would call on the county staff to develop local rules that would define data centers, address zoning in potential locations, address power and water issues, and ensure citizen participation. The moratorium will give time to answer the community's many valid questions and evaluate whether today's regulations are adequate to address concerns, Waldrop said.
Picking and choosing what industries you want to allow and what industries you don't want to allow, I think is really counterproductive, and it's political.
As for Myers, he says that banning data centers stops potential economic growth and stunts tech growth in Washington.
Just sort of simply saying we're going to stop all data center use as we continue to use AI is really just the worst of all possible approaches.
And Sean, I want to break down some of those Gallup poll numbers that you mentioned, that 7 in 10 Americans do not support data centers.
So isn't it convenient how residents in Spokane are pushing back against these data centers, right? And now all of a sudden, mysteriously, we have these wildfires. I'm not saying there's a connection for sure, but to me, this seems like more